There's a temptation which a lot of people fall into of trying to ignore it and battle on and struggle with things that you could do before. It's more effective if you can find ways to work around Parkinson's and take it away from the centre of your life.
Multitasking is very difficult for people with Parkinson's. I think it's difficult for a lot of people. But what I found myself saying is like, I'm just doing this right now. So if I was tying my shoelaces and somebody was giving me information about another part of the day, I'd say, I'm just tying my shoelaces, and then we can talk about that. Because really now I need to concentrate.
Like speaking especially, your voice is dropping. So now I heard when I went to this Parkinson nurse, what you have to do is think loud. I never thought of that.
You have to wait on your medication kicking in, and there are days where it takes slightly longer to work than others.
Yeah.
Or you have completely off days where it just doesn't work. Challenge yourself to work around it.
I'm an inveterate planner. I plan a lot. I make a lot of lists. I do things in advance, and I love doing them, and I think all those things help.
We used to go for lots of parties for Diwalis and things, but nowadays I avoid going for these late parties, but still I go 50% times.
On the whole, I try not to cancel the plans I made, because I think that actually 9 times out of 10, if you continue to do what you're going to do anyway, you feel better. There are times though when I just think actually to go out is just one thing too many, so I make an excuse and I don't go, but not very often.
I went to Australia with some very good friends, stayed with them a month, and it was an action-filled calendar, and I just, after the first week I was exhausted. I just had to say, look, we'll have to go a bit slower because I'm unable to continue at this pace.
Struggle on, if I'm okay to do that, but not if you got to the point of breaking. You have to say, call the cavalry. It's okay, you can say that.
And I go home and I kind of re-energise myself. I see my girlfriends and I see my family and I see my mum, and my mum helps me with her. I get re-energised and then I come back.
Christopher is very good at picking up the vibes. He knows when I'm having a bad day, and I'm getting better at telling him anyway, but to begin with I wasn't, because I thought, I've got to cope with this on my own. You don't have to cope with it on your own.
It's tempting for people to think that there's nothing that can be done and that inevitably their quality of life is going to go downhill. There's a great deal that they can do to improve their well-being.
I guess I am semi-retired in that technical sense, but I haven't sort of stopped living yet. I asked if I could space the 2 days over the week. That break in the middle is quite important so that I can keep going. I don't want to wear myself out too soon.
I'm a police officer. Work has been fabulous. I just love working.
When I was discovered with Parkinson, I went and told my management about the illness and I want to retire. And I was told, no, that's only a condition. It takes a long time to get effect. We can't let you go. Carry on. We'll look after you. And they did look after me, and I carried on.
Legally, you don't have to tell your employer, but I would say there are benefits to think about whether you tell them or not, but you'll know your employer as to whether that will be a sensible thing for you or not.
Some companies make every adjustment they can and support people to continue working as much as they can and to go part-time and gradually. Other organisations don't want to know, don't make any adjustment. And coping with that, it's helped greatly if you can get support from a group like Parkinson's UK.